Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and once again, I am joined, as always, by a man who I guess seems to be flabbergasted that Chick Magnet Punk, Uncle Punk himself, is now the World Heavyweight Champion. Mike, say hi, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, no, we saw this coming from a mile off. I didn't think Jey Uso was gonna win that title. And as I mean, I didn't watch the match. I was busy last night, but I was watching a few highlights of it, and Jey really buried himself in that match. He looked awful. Like, I mean, both the guys had a couple of botches, but Jey just looked washed, and
Yeah,
it's kind of weird for him to look washed because he's not that old, and he just got on the main roster he got into the main event picture about a year ago. So it was really weird to see him be so bad as he was. So I don't think we'll see him for a while. But do you think that CM Punk is going to be a longtime champion, or is he just a transitional champion to someone
oh,
else?
interesting. So I'm actually going to not spoil you, and I will answer that question once we get into it.
Okay.
But
Right, right.
I was expecting that division would interfere and it would cause a non-contest that would lead to a triple threat match between one of the members of division, CM Punk, and Jey Uso at Survivor Series. That's what I thought was going to happen. But division was not there. Uncle Punk won clean, I might add, in a random episode of Saturday Night's Main Event in Utah. And that's it. That is the last thing that we saw. CM Punk with the title and Jay looking frustrated. So we'll see what the next episode of Raw is going to be, but we can only speculate. And that's what this show is for. Well, more than just speculating, we also try to book the next episode of the show. And we do it according to these rules. You probably know what the rules are. And then once we tell you what we think the next episode of Raw is going to look like, we are going to watch the actual episode. And then we are going to do our thingamajig where we assign points to our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And we basically tell you what we got for the points on the next episode of the show. So, without further ado, let's get to the points from last week. I have a 5.5. It was not a great week for me. And I got the points for Lyra and Bailey. And I think I only got one winner correct, which was Roxanne Perez winning her match. And I only got the appearances of Lyra and Bailey and Braun, some other folks too. But yeah, not a great week for me this week. Hopefully I can bounce back this next episode, but we shall see. What about you, Mike? You seem to have more points than I did, at least.
Yes, yeah. I got points from the Lyra and Bailey match, particularly when it came to the Kabuki Warriors getting involved. Um, and I also got points from the main event, with the Vision also being featured in the main event, or one person of the Vision being featured in the main event. Um, and I also got some credit from uh, the winner of Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez, and also from the number one contendership fight for the IC title. Or I booked it as a triple threat, but it ended up involving two of the three guys. So
Yeah. All right. Yeah. As I said, you got a lot more points than I did. And we'll have to see what the fallout is going to be from Saturday night's main event as we take a look at what's announced. I think there was only one match, which was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee as they take on the Judgment Day. I assume that's going to be Finn Balor and JD McFish for the World Tag Team Championships. And so, without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show as CM Punk Uncle Punk himself, Chick Magnet Punk, the new World Heavyweight Champion, walks to the ring. He talks about his win at Saturday Night's Main Event, what it means to him. Finally, he has done what Seth Rollins could not, I guess, which is win a championship by himself. He has now gained it back from Seth. He says he's going to hold it as long as he can. No matter who it's going to be against, he is going to overcome the challenges that basically, are a part of these championship reigns. And he says that Seth can always come back and take it from him if he so desires, but he is going to be the champion for at least a little while. He is then interrupted, not by the Vision, but by one Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso comes out. He is saddened that his brother, Jey Uso, didn't win. Although he should probably think about the performance of his brother at Saturday Night's Main Event, but that's beside the point. He says that he wants to defend Jey Uso's honor, and he challenges him to a match that night. And we're going to have Punk accept, and both of them are then attacked by the Vision, who ambush them from the back. This sets up the main event for the night, which is CM Punk versus Jimmy Uso. Yes, that's what I'm gonna have there, and I could explain why, but I will say that on the main event segment. So we head on to Bayley versus Kairi Sane. This is a bit of a follow-up from, I guess, last week, a couple weeks ago, where we had that Kabuki Warriors taking on Bayley and Lyra. They didn't attack Bayley, but they attacked Lyra. And that's sort of what this match is going to be a follow-up of. Basically, we're going to have, some easy offense from both sides. But it will end in a simple roll-up from Bayley to Kairi Sane. And then after the match, we're going to have the Kabuki Warriors stare at Bayley. They're going to walk past Lyra, her tag team partner. Lyra gets all confused and doesn't really know what's happening. And then we have the Kabuki Warriors attack her from the back while she is confused. And I think this will head to Kabuki Warriors versus Bayley and Lyra. Whoever wins that can be the next sort of women's tag team championship contender to take on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. So we move on from that to Maxine Dupree as she takes on Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I'm going to have it happen here because she has found a partner. And that partner, I think, is Natalya. Natalya is picked to be at Maxine's side for the match. We basically have like a segment of them like training or whatever. Maybe on a promo package or something. And then the actual match itself. We're going to have Maxine Dupree come in with Natalya as she takes on Becky Lynch, and I'm going to have it end in a DQ because Becky Lynch smacks Maxine with a chair, and that leads to a brawl between the three women. And I think this will lead to a sort of cap-off match between the two women at Survivor Series, where we get Natalya, again, training Maxine more and more so that she gets prepared. And the match to basically end the feud between both of them is going to be like a street fight or a no DQ, something like that. Something that warrants chairs, ladders, tables, all the weapons so that we can protect Maxine Dupree, I guess. But I am going to have Becky Lynch basically just win the feud and go on to something else unless they want to pull off an underdog upset for Maxine Dupree, in which case, fine, whatever, I guess. Moving on to a Dominic Mysterio promo as Dominic Mysterio walks to the ring. He talks about his win at Saturday Night's Main Event. He bested both Rusev and Penta by playing around with the Bell Hammer. And he says that he beat both of them and he beat both of them multiple times. So now there's no one to challenge him for the title. And he's kind of, bragging a bit about how he's the best Mysterio and how he is one of the best wrestlers ever. He's even better than his dad. And then we're going to have Adam Pearce come out. He says that it is true that you beat both Rusev and Penta for the title. That doesn't mean that he hasn't stopped looking for new contenders for the belt. Now, what I am going to do is quite a crapshoot, but I am going to have Oba Femi introduced as the new member of the Raw roster. And I'm going to have Oba Femi come out and face Dominic Mysterio, and then have Dominic sort of cower in fear and leaves with the title. And he walks to the back, or I should say runs to the back, as Oba Femi still stares at him. And yeah, I'm going to have Oba Femi challenge Dom for the title at Survivor Series War Games. I know it's a bit, I don't know, it's like 3-4 weeks of build, but I think that can still happen. And that's that's not the only crapshoot idea I have for this episode. Don't worry, I got many more. But
So is Oba Femi like Omos but good? Is that what I'm getting?
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
His gimmick is that he's a Nigerian kind of like he speaks like a Nigerian warlord, I guess. He calls himself the ruler of NXT. And
So he's
he
Omos, basically.
yeah, he sometimes does an American accent to like make fun of, of people. Um which is pretty funny, I should say. But yeah, he's almost but better for sure. Anyway, we'll move on from that to Nikki Bella as she takes on Raquel Rodriguez. This is again another follow-up from the last episode in which Nikki Bella, I think, got trounced by Roxanne Perez. I think. Yes, that's right. So now we have this match. And I am going to have Raquel Rodriguez win by pinfall. After the match, Raquel and Roxanne beat up Nikki Bella, and Stephanie Vaquer comes in for the save. And maybe the next episode after this one, we're going to have a tag team match between all four of the women. And this may also lead to the Roxanne versus Stephanie match for the World Championship, Women's World Championship, I should say, at Survivor Series. So I think that's what we're going to do with that, I guess. We'll move on to the Tag Team Championship match as AJ Styles and Dragon Lee take on the Judgment Day. I'm going to have AJ and Dragon Lee win by pinfall. And then after the match, we're going to have the War Raiders come back and face AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. And I think this is going to be the next feud for Raw as they head into Survivor Series. It could also be the New Day, but I don't really know what we're doing with the New Day, honestly, with Grayson Waller. I have no idea what they're doing with them. And they're kind of heatless, so you might as well risk it on a brand new feud. And I get it, it's face versus face, but you can always turn the War Raiders heel. Maybe get them some heat there as a tag team. But yeah, that's what I'm going to have there. And at Survivor Series, it's probably going to be AJ Styles and Dragon Lee as they take on the War Raiders, which is a great challenge, but I think AJ and Dragon go over at that match. Main event, CM Punk versus Jimmy Uso. I'm going to have this end in a DQ because the Vision come in to attack both Punk and Jimmy. And then we hear Jay's music. Jey Uso comes in for the help. Punk manages to get one of the Vision members out of the ring. So now they have to deal with the other Vision member. They try to get him out of the ring. Jay does, I mean. But he accidentally super kicks Jimmy in the process. So, we're going to have some sort of miscommunication or mistiming that leads to that. And Jey Uso is at first shocked that it happened. He sort of thinks about it a little bit. And obviously, we still have division members sort of, still in the ring, or I should say out of the ring, I guess, after Punk sort of lays the other person out, I guess. Um, so he is at first shocked that it happened, but then he decides to continue beating Jimmy up after a few seconds of thinking about what just happened, and then leaves the ring as the Vision sort of wakes up from their beating and sort of beats up Jimmy and Punk to end the show. So yes, I'm going to have Jey Uso turn heel on this show, and I am sticking with the triple threat idea for Survivor Series, in which we're gonna have Braun Breaker. Sort of, he's gonna come in and say, "Hey, where's my title? I'm owed this title. I got it from Seth, and I booted Seth from Division, so I should have the title." And Punk has a legitimate reason. He's the champion after all. And then we have Jey Uso, who is now a heel. And then we have the elements of Jimmy Uso, being betrayed by Jey Uso. So he might play a factor into this triple threat match and sort of cost Jey his win. Excuse me. And then that will carry on to a brand new feud between Jimmy and Jey, where it is hopefully better than the one that they had at WrestleMania last year. So I think Punk he's probably gonna get it for, or he's gonna stay champion for a little while, but I do think it's going to go back to Braun for sure. And Braun, we're gonna establish Braun as a sort of big bad coming to WrestleMania. Seth Rollins can come in as a face, try to take it from Braun at WrestleMania, maybe even win it, maybe. But I'm gonna have Punk have it for like 1 month or a couple weeks, and then Braun eventually gets it from Punk and establishes himself as the new champion and the big bad going into next year. So hopefully that answered your question.
Okay.
But
Well,
are there
yeah,
any other questions?
I was first gonna ask you where do you. So I don't think Jey Uso comes back as soon as you say he does. But who do you? So you think Braun Breaker is CM Punk's opponent, and you think Braun Breaker takes it from him?
Um. Well, I'm gonna guess a triple threat match between Punk, Jey, and Braun at Survivor Series. I think. Honestly, I think Braun should get the title at Survivor Series from Punk, and then we're gonna have Braun go on this sort of streak where he's kind of like, I wouldn't say Goldberg, but like he's kind of like the next big bad. We're gonna model it after Gunther kind of deal, right? Where he's sort of undefeatable. He's unstoppable. Enough of this crap booking that he got saddled with. Even Bronson Reed, like both of them got terrible booking this year. But I want to establish both of them as like this dominant faction, and it starts with Braun getting this title from Punk and establishing himself as the big bad. Like he should be the big bad. Bronson Reed can go after Dom's title, fine, but honestly, I'm gonna have Punk go, just a tiny bit with the title, and then Braun takes it from him. I don't know if that answered
Okay.
what your question was, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Any
Okay.
other questions, or shall we head into your card?
I do have a thing I came across today when I was looking at the results card. So
Uh huh.
I sometimes go online right onto Reddit and I look at the post show breakdown because they write like a very detailed log of what
Yeah.
happened. So if I miss a segment, I can see what happened.
Yeah.
Um, And you know when you view a post, it like shows you on the right hand side. I didn't log in either, so this is not my algorithm, serving this to me. This is just me logging in, viewing it from a non user perspective, right? Because I don't have a Reddit account. But I was looking at the post, and then on the right side, there were like 8 to 10 recommended posts from subreddits that are just dedicated to like a single woman wrestler. And I was
What?
like, damn, they are. I
What?
didn't realize that the gooning was this hard, but it is. It's crazy. Yeah, there was like one like just strictly for like for Becky Lynch. There was one strictly for like Nikki Bella, and I was like, damn. I now understand why Triple H sometimes leans into the gooner aspect, because there are
These are
apparently a lot
subreddits?
of people. Yes, they are. Yeah, I didn't look at
What?
them because I'm not a gooner, but I did see them. The algorithm fed them to me when I was looking at show notes for this last episode of Raw.
That's
So
insane.
I was
That's
shocked. I
insane.
was like, wow, I didn't know the gooning was this insane. But now we know. Now we know.
I wish I can unknow that information, honestly.
I'm sorry I've burdened you and everybody who watches the show with that information, but now you have. You can join me in knowing that these places exist. You're welcome.
Fantastic.
You're
Oh my
welcome.
god,
Don't
does that
say
mean
I don't.
there's
I don't give you any information. Don't say I don't teach you and stuff.
does that mean there's one for Nikki Cross?
I didn't see it, and I'm not going to go look for it. I'm just telling you what I saw.
I swear, if there's one for Nikki Cross, then holy crap, we have we have fallen as a society. But
Ugh.
anyway, all
let's,
right,
let's forget about that. And we get
yeah,
to
let's
my
forget
card.
about that. All right, let's go to your card, I suppose. Starting off with
We have a CM Punk promo. Punk comes out and he says that he won the title last night. It was rightfully his. He finally has a title. And it's great to be alive and wherever they are. And he is interrupted by the Vision with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman comes out and says, hey, you got the title that was rightfully Seth's, and also rightfully Braun Breaker's. So don't expect that you're going to be able to walk around here without having to worry about, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed coming for you, because we want the title back. So what happens here is CM Punk says, all right, well, if you think this is the Workman's Championship, because it has been the Workman's Championship, he's like, all right, how about we do this tonight? And then him and Paul Heyman agree to a title fight for the main event, which is Bronson Reed versus CM Punk. I
whoa.
still think the plan for this is eventually giving it to Braun Breaker. And I think the long-term plan from the Vision perspective is for this to like soften up Punk and give him a little bit of damage, eventually
Yeah.
going into Survivor Series where Braun Breaker probably takes it from him. So
All right. Glad to see that you agree with with me on the whole
yes.
Braun is gonna take it from Punk kind of deal. I hope it happens, honestly. But God knows, willing this company, this guy won clean. Clean!
I know. You went clean, dude. That was crazy.
Anyway, let's go to the next one, which is
Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vaquer versus the Judgment Day. So Rhea is featured for this show. And the way I think this makes sense is they originally booked a Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquer versus Judgment Day match. I don't know if that was confirmed, but I saw it on a preview on Netflix's site that it was confirmed. So I'm thinking it may be confirmed. But what I think happens here is Nikki Bella, for whatever reason, is taken out before the match, whether it's backstage by the Judgment Day, by Roxanne Perez, and then Vaquer is left alone. She doesn't have a tag team partner. And then Rhea comes out, and she's like, well, I'm here, so I can help you out. And this ends up being a tag team match with Rhea and Stephanie. And I think they win pretty handedly. And there's kind of the usual can they coexist type deal going here because they are two champions, or one's a former champion, the other is the actual champion. And I think this sets up a potential feud between these two for the title. So.
Oh, you're saying Rhea is the next challenger for the title?
Yes. Yeah, probably.
All right, so Rhea versus Stephanie at Survivor Series. Who do you think goes over here?
I would say Rhea, but knowing Triple H, you got to probably give it to the Gooner lady because I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Roxanne gets the shot yet. I think she still sticks in the tag team. Maybe goes for the IC title, possibly. She has to have like a possible feud with Liv Morgan whenever Liv Morgan comes back.
All right, that makes sense, I suppose. I don't really know at this point. Anyway, moving on to
women's tag team title match. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm reading my notes wrong. AJ Lee versus the Judgment Day World Tag Team Champions fight. So, I think that AJ Lee win this fight thanks to interference from Sheamus. So Sheamus had a fight last week with JD McDonough, and I think Sheamus comes out again. I'm not sure why, but he did. I think Sheamus comes out again because he lost that fight. Did he lose? I think he did. Yeah. And he comes out and he attacks JD McDonough on the outside. Finn Balor comes out to assist. He is distracted, and AJ Styles takes advantage of that and is able to roll him up for the victory. And I think this leads to a Finn Balor versus Sheamus feud, or mini feud, which actually sounds very interesting to me because it's two Irish guys beating the fuck out of each other. So that'll be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I think happens here.
So who do you think will be the next sort of challengers to this? I know the Raw tag team roster is very, very it's got a lot of depth. But who do you think? Who's next? Who's next? Is it the War Raiders? Is it the New Day?
Probably, I would say probably the New Day. You could also maybe put like Los Garza in there if you want to bring them up from AAA. But it could, yeah, I think it could probably be a New Day. Yeah.
All right. And how long do you think AJ and Dragon Lee hold the title for?
Probably to Survivor Series, I would say, because next year is AJ's last year. So I think that he holds it probably until the beginning of the year, and then he starts his retirement tour. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it is. I might as well say it. Hopefully it's better than John Cena's retirement tour. Because honestly, John Cena's retirement tour could have been better, guys. Could have been better. Honestly. Hopefully, I know this is more for SmackDown, I guess, but hopefully John Cena's last opponent tournament thing. I hope that's gonna be interesting. 16 men from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, other places as well. Definitely gonna be interesting to see.
Other places almost immediately signals to me that we're gonna have Joe Hendry.
Yeah, it could be Joe Hendry. There's a lot of people who could be there in the tournament, so hopefully they make this exciting
Chris
and fresh.
Jericho?
Oh, maybe.
I lose my shit if Chris Jericho shows up.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting tournament. I know this is more for SmackDown, but technically it starts the episode after this on Raw, which is in Boston. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who's going to be in that tournament and who wins it. So there we go, I suppose. Definitely more interesting than the tag team situation on Raw. But anyway, moving on from that to
the women's tag team title match, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus the Kabuki Warriors. This was mentioned last week that the Kabuki Warriors wanted a shot at the titles. So I think they give it to him here, and I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss win by pinfall very easily. So who is next for these two? I don't know, because it seems like every women's tag team is kind of mid
Okay.
beyond them. So I if I had to say, I might say that it could be like probably Bailey and Lyra
Yeah.
if they get a shot again.
Yeah.
Probably if they end up keeping Bailey as a face, but again, I don't know.
Is she a
So
face though? I don't. I don't
I don't know.
know.
They're pointing her to like this schizo thing where she's like a, but they haven't really leaned into that at all. So I don't know.
Yeah. So when you said that this was kind of announced, I guess per a backstage segment, I was like, really? I didn't hear any of that. And
No, it
honestly,
wasn't
I thought,
announced. It was basically just the Kabuki Warriors going up, being like, "We want a shot at titles." So it wasn't announced. It was just like
oh, it
hinted
was
to.
just
So
okay, yeah. But
yeah,
I was just saying that I thought they were not done with the whole Lyra and Bailey thing. So, might as well expound on that rather than just have them be catapulted to just number one contender. So that's why I had the two teams. But okay, so how I guess how long do Charlotte and Alexa have these titles for? I guess.
probably until WrestleMania. Yeah, probably until WrestleMania. I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how you're gonna break them up though. It's gonna be interesting to see how this tag team, because I don't think this will last long. They're kind of going to break up soon, and I know it's not gonna happen. Not now anyway. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they break up. But do you have a
You
clue as
could
to
factor in
how?
the Wyatt Six. You could factor in the Wyatt Six. You could factor in um I don't know, because neither of them have any other like feuds. Maybe Charlotte Flair does for like the world title, but I don't know. It's kind of weird because both of them don't have like anything else going on really. So there's
Yeah,
nothing else that would pull them away. It's just like that's the only thing they have going for them. So they can't really be broken up because they're kind of just like they're just kind of that's the only thing they have right now. So
yeah. I mean, they're both like mid carders, I guess, or part timers, I should say. So they have a limited schedule, and I guess this is what they thought of for these two, considering their schedules. So I guess it makes sense, I guess, but damn. It's gonna be interesting to see how the team sort of breaks up. But we'll see. Moving on from that to
Natalia versus Becky Lynch. This is a non-title fight, by the way. Um, the reason I think this happens is they do want to build maybe for the go home show for Survivor Series. I don't know if this will be on the Survivor Series card. Um, I'm thinking maybe the go home show for Survivor Series. This is a build to eventually Maxine Dupree taking the IC title from Becky Lynch. I think what happens is, you know, basically they established in a backstage segment that it was going to be Maxine tonight, but Becky Lynch is like, nope, I've already beaten you twice, so I have nothing more to give to you. And then Natalia is like, well, I'm here. I came all the way here for no reason. So they make it Natalia versus Becky Lynch, and I think what happens here is Becky wins via pinfall. Then she goes to attack Natalia with the chair, but she is saved by Maxine Dupree, who is able to finally uh, plant Becky on the mat. And that leads to, or this will eventually lead to, what I think is either most likely a street fight
yeah,
uh, at at the Go Home Show or Survivor Series.
San Diego Street Fight, everybody.
which could work in Maxine's favor because she isn't the greatest wrestler. Like she does have somewhat of a bag, right? Like
Yeah,
not the. I mean, we never. I mean, you don't know. I mean, and Pat McAfee pulled out a moonsault, so you know who the fuck knows
that's true. That's
who the
true.
hell knows what she has in her bag, man. Um, so you know that could happen.
She's not.
But
She's
I
not as
think
bad as Nia Jax. I will say that.
no, no,
No.
she's not as bad as Nia Jax. So
Okay. So considering, so you're saying Maxine's gonna win at Survivor Series and take the title from Becky. Who do you think will be her first opponent? I'm guessing it's Natalia, right?
yeah, I'm guessing it's Natalia. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then
And,
maybe AJ Lee, possibly.
oh, okay. So you're gonna have Maxine sort of hold the title for that long to last two feuds, I guess, right?
Um, no,
No.
I don't think that that feud gets started up again until Seth Rollins is back.
Okay. You mean
Yeah.
AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
I think they're
basically,
still gonna go with like the Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee and CM Punk angle. So you have to wait till
yeah,
Seth Rollins gets back.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And I'm guessing you're just gonna have Maxine lose the title to Natalia, then?
No, I think Maxine holds on to it for a while. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. I guess. All right, we'll move on from that to the main event, which
Main
is
event is World Heavyweight title Bronson Reed versus CM Punk. I think CM Punk wins thanks to a disqualification with vision interference. I think Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker go to beat up CM Punk. And he is saved not by Jey Uso nor Jimmy Uso, but the greatest jobber of all time, LA Knight.
yeah,
He comes out and he saves CM Punk from the Vision interference. And I think this is a way for CM Punk to get another shot at the title. No, sorry, LA Knight to get another shot at the title where he will again do the JOB on the PLE.
gotta
Unfortunately,
love, gotta love our golden jobber, LA Knight.
you know who's another jobber is Rusev. Rusev left AEW because he didn't want to job out, and then he immediately jobbed out to Dominic Mysterio.
That's watching it,
Go
I guess.
figure. Go figure.
I guess I could also. This is more for SmackDown, but I could also put Drew McIntyre on there. His booking has been crap lately. Like he has
I
lost
know, man.
twice
I
against
know.
Cody now. Like what the hell, man?
People are complaining real bad about Drew becoming another jobber. And I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's actually getting to that point where he's a jobber now.
it's
Like
insane.
Triple H must have paid him a massive truckload of money because there's no way he was going to stay if he agreed to be a jobber to Cody Rhodes for a while. But you have to think that he probably takes it at Survivor Series, like maybe in a no DQ match or
Yeah.
like a cage match. I think it probably is going to be Hell in a Cell between Cody and Drew, and I think Drew probably takes it. Um, I think that's the only way we can resolve this feud without making Drew look like a complete idiot.
Yeah. It's kind of difficult for them now to not make him look bad considering the situation. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just terrible. I honestly think the title change should have occurred at WrestlePalooza and saved us the amount of headache that's happening right now. Honestly, like Drew should have been the winner at WrestlePalooza, and we could have avoided this. Now, there is another way that could also happen, but I'm gonna reserve it for SmackDown because I have an idea. I have an idea for what could also happen, but That's SmackDown, and this is Raw. And that's what we got for our predictions and bookings for that episode of Raw, the fallout from Saturday night's main event. As I said earlier, we're going to watch the actual episode, and then we will do our points on these predictions and bookings, and then we will come back here on the next episode to tell you what we got. But until then, thank you so much for ordering a pepperoni pizza called Probably Next Week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you are down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos!